iodine. That's sometimes the technique that I would never recommend having done to kill someone's thyroid if they have hyperthyroid, like a condition called Graves' disease. But in terms of nutritional iodine, the majority of people in America are deficient in iodine. Now, can you overdo it a little bit in iodine? Perhaps. So that's why I think it's important to do urinary testing to test your iodine. That's the most accurate and probably the only way that you can screen for it accurately. But yeah, I think as a nutritional supplement, as long as you keep it conservative, iodine in general is a really great supplement for most people, even if they have Hashimoto's.
Okay. Now, is there a lot of people ask, well, you know, we have salt that's iodized. Is that enough to make a difference, or are you talking a supplement that's in addition to that?
So the putting iodine in salt would prevent people from getting a goiter. So if you don't want to have a goiter, then use that salt, I guess. But yeah, no, typically people are deficient in their iodine. And a big part of that is, like, for example, Diet Mountain Dew has a lot of bromide in it, and bromide displaces iodine, and so then it can't even get to the receptor site. So yeah, in general, people are very deficient in iodine and should take an additional iodine supplement for sure.
Okay. Well, and I appreciate hearing that also, because I had a different doctor on the podcast about a year and a half ago, and he talked about the iodine deficiency. And we didn't have enough time to go into the why, and I've had a lot of people message in with questions like, it seems ungrounded and that we don't have enough information to go off of. So it's nice for me when I hear information like that repeated from multiple people I trust. That's where I really find validity in it. So thank you. Let's talk about hyperthyroidism, because that is explain what that is for those who don't know, and perhaps any of the causes that you know of.
Yeah, well, you know, the interesting thing about hyperthyroid and hypothyroid for the majority of the time is they're driven by the same thing. Because remember how I was saying that when people are attacking their thyroid, their immune system is attacking their thyroid. It does the exact same thing with hyperthyroid. So, and that's a condition called Graves' disease. So what happens is the body, because of genetics, these triggers, these environmental triggers, and a problem with the gut, the body starts to attack the thyroid. And the way I describe it to people is that people that have hyperthyroid or Graves' disease, it's kind of like this light bulb in your house that's burning really bright, that's unusually bright, and you're like, that doesn't look right. And then eventually, bam, the light bulb goes out. And that's exactly usually what happens with people with Graves' disease, is the Graves will burn the thyroid real bright for a long time, so your thyroid goes really fast, and you can lose weight, and you get heart palpitations, and you sweat, and you don't feel great. And then all of a sudden, people will kind of snap, and then they'll transition into hypothyroid, where the thyroid will now start to slow down and go more into like a Hashimoto's picture. And so, I'm always like monitoring people to watch and see, when they come to me with high thyroid, then to watch them sort of transition and, monitor that very closely, to watch them most of the time transition into low thyroid.
Now, is there any specific tests that are different than the ones you've recommended for those with hyperthyroidism? Or once they're diagnosed, what's the next step for them? How do they feel their best?
Yeah, so the same test, there's only one other additional test that we do, and it's a TSI, thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin, and then that kind of helps us confirm the diagnosis, but the tests are in essence the same.
Okay.
And the treatment in a functional medicine clinic like mine is pretty much the same. You're looking for the root cause of why your body is attacking your thyroid, whether it's an environmental toxin, if it's an infection in your gut, if you've got a gut issue, if you've got gluten sensitivity, if you've got candida or yeast overgrowth. It's very similar.
Okay, very interesting. Now, on a nutrition level, Would you recommend a different eating style for those with hypothyroidism versus those with hyperthyroidism? Or what are some of the key fundamental things that we should be doing if we're experiencing one, or, well, you can't have both, but one of those?
Yeah, no, I think they're very similar because what we're trying to do is to calm down the attack on the thyroid. And some of the foods that have been shown to create more of an attack on the thyroid would be things like gluten, and some people believe dairy, and there's some research to sort of back that up. And so very similar sort of food that you have to be super careful with, I would say, in that category.
Great. Now, there's both pros and cons of people talking about cruciferous vegetables and how they will impact the effectiveness of any hypothyroidism medication. Is there any validity to that? Is it the way that they're cooked?
Well, I think if you cook their goitrogens, right, these foods, if you can cook them, it certainly takes down the goitrogenic effect, meaning the blocking effect of the thyroid, for sure. But the majority of people are not going to overeat their cruciferous vegetables. I mean, I've been doing this long enough to realize that, you know, it's kind of hard to overeat your cruciferous vegetables, in my opinion. Most of the time, we're just trying to get people to eat the vegetables, right? So I tend to find that not as much of a concern. But if people are concerned, then steam them, cook them a little bit.
I am so excited to hear you say that. That's great. Okay, when it comes to just making this a reality and living with a diagnosis, a lot of people wonder, is this something I'll ever be able to get off my medication? Is there a solution for that, or is it more about managing? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, no, everybody is an individual case there, right? So if you have a lot of stress in your life and you find that that's not going to be manageable, or you're having a hard time managing your food plan and your diet, and you know you're not in a position, whether it's financially or you work a night shift job, or you know that you can't bring down some of these triggering things, then the likelihood of you not taking medication is probably pretty low, especially if you want to feel okay, right? But for the people that can kind of manage those triggers and get their gut on track, yeah, all the time I see ladies' thyroid antibodies come down, and clearly when the antibodies start coming down, we have to lower their dosages of thyroid medication, and a lot of times get them off. But everybody's an individual case.
Okay, wonderful. And I think that is important. We can learn from the general principles, but at the end of the day, they need to get with a trusted expert like yourself. And I think it's so great that you Skype with anybody and that people travel to come see you. I'm so lucky you're just an hour away from me. That's great. We did get a question following up on the iodine, that is there a recommended beginning dose of iodine if many people are deficient?
Well, the one study that we have that is how people sometimes make their recommendations is that, of course, we know what the recommendations are from our government, which I think those are way low. But one study they did was on people in Japan have very little problems with thyroid, which is interesting that the thyroid condition is named after someone in Japan, the Hashimoto.
Yeah, interesting.
But they have a lot of iodine in their food because they eat a lot of seafood. They eat a lot of ocean products that are seaweed that have a lot of iodine in there, and they figure that they consume anywhere from about 3 to about 6 milligrams of iodine a day. So those are some of the general recommendations I give my patients.
Wonderful. Is there a better place than others to purchase a quality supplement?
Yeah, I mean, I could get into the details on that, but iodine usually is pretty much iodine. And if you want to just eat seaweed, if you have a hankering for seaweed, I'd much rather you get it through food if you can do it that way.
Oh,
but if you're
that's
not
amazing.
Seaweed, then,
I'm so into seaweed. I lived in South Korea for a long time, so
okay.
I am very happy to hear about the seaweed. Okay, let's follow up on, I feel as though a lot of people have had cancer in their thyroid and so had it removed, and now they're struggling with weight loss. And this seems to be a common message I'm reached out to with. And so, you know, all I do is just teach proper nutrition. And so I'm grateful to have you here to maybe extend our knowledge. Is there anything in addition that somebody who's had a complete removal of their thyroid should be in the know about, or that they should be doing or taking?
No, I mean, again, I think it kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. Is you have to have proper thyroid management of the laboratory tests. And again, if you're taking a T4 medication and it's not being converted to T3, but you're not checking your free T3, then you don't really know if your thyroid medication is working properly. Plus, if you've had thyroid cancer in the past, there's more specific numbers on trying to keep your TSH a little bit lower to be protective of the thyroid cancer. But I would say the recommendations are generally the same. It's just that most of the time the thyroid is being mismanaged, in my opinion, on the way that the laboratory testing is being done. And because here's the thing, right? So this is the big thing for me. If you give T4, like synthroid levothyroxine, to someone who has a thyroid who doesn't have a thyroid, and you're not converting that to T3, you're not going to feel good and you're not going to lose weight. And the things that would convert your T4 to reverse T3 and slow your thyroid down would be things like stress, inflammation, toxins, the environmental things we're exposed to. And who doesn't have some of that going on, right?
Right.
And so you got to check all the labs to make sure that the prescription is working the way that it's supposed to.
Wow. You know, I think a lot of times we all need to hear the practical reality of taking ownership over our decisions, our food choices, but then also having this extra information of going to ask our doctors these things that maybe they haven't recommended, but being armed with that information is very powerful. So we're heading into the holidays, and people and ownership oftentimes at this point in the year are just kind of bagging it and saying, you know, January's coming down the road. As a doctor of functional medicine and seeing the connection not just to people's weight, but to their absolute health and feelings of wellness in life, what would be your advice to us as we head into the holiday season?
So on the silly side, December is great for business for me.
I'll bet.
Because people, you're right, it's almost like people use the excuse of a holiday to not eat right? It's kind of like, oh, you know, I'll just kind of get off my diet plan. It's an okay thing. I don't know. It's so hard because I mean, at some level, I completely get that, and there are certain foods that are amazing during the holidays for sure. But I think you can do it. Like I stay focused on, gosh, what's the long game? You know, are there times that you can not be perfect? Absolutely. But maybe you have to be kind of in this 90-10 space or 80-20, and I think everybody has to kind of decide for themselves where they need to be, like how often they can cheat and not feel good, or how often they can cheat and still feel okay. And I think people have to kind of find that for themselves.
Love that. Personal ownership, personal responsibility, and we all get to live in our own bodies, so hopefully we create the body that we are going to enjoy living in. Well, this has been remarkable. I am so grateful to you for your contribution here to Body Buddies and sharing this information with us. We've covered a lot. For those of you who have joined a little bit later, we have covered causes of hypothyroidism, the connection with the adrenal glands, radioactive iodine, iodine deficiency, what's desiccated hormones, transitioning to desiccated hormones, foods to avoid, hyperthyroidism, and elimination diets. So we've definitely given a wealth of information here. Hopefully you guys all give us some hearts if you enjoyed this, what Dr. Lundell has shared with us today. Doc, why don't you give us your contact information? I'm sure we've got some people who are very interested in learning how to get a hold of you.
Well, hey, thanks for having me on your show. It's been fun. I've been watching a lot of your stuff, and it's great. I think you're doing an amazing job helping so many people. So I commend you. You're doing a fabulous job.
That means a lot.
But my contact information, my website is just drlundell.info, so drlundell.info. So you can find me there. got an Instagram page that's just under my name and Facebook page, and I try to put a lot of hopefully informational posts out there to help people understand that there's a different way that they can go about interacting with their doctor and getting better health.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We definitely respect your time. This we should all be paying you mega money for this information. So thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for all you do.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
And thanks for having me on.
You bet.
Talk to you later.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. What do you guys think? Drop some hot stuff there that you probably would have to go from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to find these solutions. So I hope that those of you who joined later will go back, watch this whole thing. Wow, this is a wealth of information. And I just truly think, having worked with so many people, obviously not on the medicine side, just on truly the mindset and the strategy of how do we make this happen? We know we need to cut out the gluten. We know we need to cut out the dairy. Again, if we fall in that demographic of people like he recommended, and finding solutions. And so that's what I just invite you guys to do, is truly go into solution finding mode. You have to cut off any of those supposed failures of the past or failed efforts and realize you're a new person today. And sometimes it's about playing the game a little bit differently. I love chess. I love to play with friends or nieces, nephews. They're getting old enough to start learning how to beat me now. And I will just say, it is not the game itself. Just because you've lost the game doesn't mean you're a failure. You need to learn strategy. You need to learn how to navigate the different pieces. You need to learn the variables of food prep, of your psychology, of timing in your day, because there is no one cookie cutter approach for everybody. And so I just invite you to explore more of these videos and truly be a part of this. I've got something wonderful coming for you after Thanksgiving on November 30th. So you will want to stay engaged here on the Facebook page if any of this and truly becoming a strategist of your own health is of value and something that causes you to feel a little bit of hope. Then make sure you definitely are paying attention. You've got notifications on, and I'm just excited about the project that my team has been working on for months now to help each of you with that journey. And so many of you have been through my beta test group, and we've had remarkable success and feedback, and I'm just so thankful. Truly, at this holiday season, I'm thankful that I got lucky enough to end up where I am now through my own struggles, my own challenges, that we're all growing people. We're all figuring it out. Nobody is saying like, oh my gosh, I know everything, but you know, recognizing when someone's been through enough to be able to be a guide for you and your journey, I think is very powerful. So I'm thankful every day, thankful that I get to reach out to the most amazing doctors and scientists and be able to share this information with each of you. So thank you for being here. We're a family. I invite you to join the higher level family, which is over at Body Buddies World. With that comes weekly meal plans and monthly training plans, and most importantly, our private Facebook group where constant interaction goes. So if that is of interest to you, it is ladies only, and that's available at bodybuddiesworld.com. So signing out, love you all. Thank you for being here. Power your body, one meal, one workout, one day at a time.
So much for watching. Here at Body Buddies and the Power Foods Lifestyle, my goal is to empower you with a completely new way of approaching your nutrition, your fitness, and your mindset. Come check out my starter kit over at powerfoodslifestyle.com, where I'm going to give you my book, the audio version of my book. I personally read it, 3 of my recipe books, 6 starter sample meal plans, and the Power Foods list. This is a great place to get started into strategic eating. Also, be sure to check out the Body Buddies podcast and subscribe. There, I will help you bridge the gap between the science of optimality in your nutrition and fitness and the reality of your day-to-day life, emotion, psychology, and being a busy person. So I invite you to come on this learning journey with me. Let me empower you and give you the tactics, the strategy, and the psychology to be able to make some lasting, sustainable shifts in your life, in your body, and the way you feel about yourself. Power your body, one meal, one workout, one day at a time.